All right, let's dive into this asset tokenization thing. You've sent over a ton of stuff, book chapters, articles, even like Dennis Frank's whole world. Seriously, the guy's got books, a website. Like, you want the full picture, huh? Let's do it.
Smart move, honestly. Asset tokenization, it's one of those things you think it's small, then bam, could be bigger than the internet. We're talking reshaping industries here, potentially.
No kidding. That Chainlink article, though, trillions stuck with me. Trillions of dollars. Is that for real?
Yeah.
Can this unlock that kind of value?
Well, think about it. Right now, so much of finance, it's old school, right? Want to invest in real estate. Headache, paperwork, upfront costs. If you're not already wealthy, forget it. But tokenization is like dividing assets into these smaller pieces, digital tokens, anyone can buy and sell.
So instead of needing, hundreds of thousands for a property, you could own a tiny bit of it, like digital real estate crowdfunding almost.
Exactly. And it's not just real estate. We're talking art, private companies, even like gold, oil. Chainlink calls it permissionless liquidity, open access. Anyone can invest in things that used to be off limits.
That's what gets me. The democratization, could it level the playing field financially? But before we go too crazy, the Chainlink article, Oracle problem, sounds kind of ominous, right?
Not as scary as it sounds, but important. Imagine buying a token represents part of a cabin. How do you know for sure there's a real cabin? That the seller owns it.
Right, and that it's not like burned down since the token was made. That's where oracles come in.
Exactly. Blockchains, they track info inside their system, right? But to get real-world info onto the blockchain, you need a reliable way. Oracles are the bridge.
Okay, so it's like the system's secure, but we need to make sure the info about what's owned is accurate in the first place.
Precisely. And the security of those oracles, that's paramount. That info has to be accurate, tamper-proof. And that's where it gets really interesting because there are so many different ways to build those secure oracles.
With all this research you're into, I bet you picked Dennis Frank's stuff for a reason. The guy really gets into it, doesn't he?
Totally. He paints a picture like, what if this tokenized future really happened? His book, The Digital Assets Paradigm, it's perfect for this. He's got this chapter, real estate, talks about owning just a fraction of vacation home.
Yeah, that one hooked me too. Imagine a piece of a beach house or a cabin in the mountains, and you don't have to deal with the whole thing yourself.
Could be huge for vacation homes, way more accessible, maybe even affordable for more people.
Changes how you think about community too, right?
Yeah.
Like owning with friends, people you agree with, new ways to live, to vacation together even.
Not just fancy places either. Frank talks farmland too. Could be big for sustainable investing.
Knowing you, I figured that'd stand out. It's a good fit, people who want to support good farming, connecting them directly to farmers needing the money.
Exactly. Impact investing, putting your money where your values are. And it doesn't stop at real estate, farms. Commodities too. Frank gets into that whole world.
That's what blew me away. Gold, silver, oil.
Yeah.
Suddenly it's like I could actually own some,
Right. Those used to be for the big guys, institutional investors. Now with tokenization, way more people could get in on that. Imagine owning a tiny piece of a gold bar. Just a few taps on your phone. Done.
Especially now, with the economy being so uncertain, feels like tokenized gold, silver, could make people feel a little safer, more stable. And then there's the art stuff, collectibles, that whole open access thing we were talking about before.
The art world, tokenized, that's exciting. Owning a tiny piece of a masterpiece even.
Instead of a couple rich collectors, thousands of people have a stake in it.
Totally changes ownership, right? And the way people interact with art itself. Frank even mentions collectors could use this to support new artists, raise money. Could be huge, bypassing the whole gallery system. Artists connect right to their fans.
It's a lot, isn't it? Vacation homes, supporting actual farms, getting into art. Almost sounds too good to be true. But, gotta ask, what about the downsides? Anything about this whole tokenization thing have you worried?
Always good to look at both sides. I like that. And yeah, it's not all perfect. Dennis Frank, in his book, he brings up the regulation thing. It's all so new, kind of Wild West-y, Makes investors and businesses nervous, not knowing the rules yet.
Makes sense. It's moving so fast.
But
why is regulation so important here, really?
Might sound boring, but regulation, it's like the guardrails for any market, right? Keeps things stable, people can trust it. Without them, it's scams waiting to happen.
Protects investors, makes it fair, like building a house, needs a solid foundation. Anything else we should be thinking about?
Well, we talked about oracles, right? Making sure the info on the blockchain is accurate. But what about the oracles themselves? If those get hacked, the whole thing falls apart.
Right, like having a fancy alarm system but leaving the front door wide open. How do they stop that?
That's where the tech comes in. They're working on these decentralized Oracle networks, no single point of failure. Chainlink, for instance, they're all about making those data feeds tamper-proof.
Because they're like building in extra security, redundancies, making it as trustworthy as possible.
Yeah.
Gotcha. But what about, and I know this is always the question with investments, what about the market going up and down?
Frank's honest about that, too. Just because it's tokenized doesn't mean it's safe from the market, right? Could even be more volatile early days and all.
So, like any investment, do your homework right. Don't go putting in what you can't afford to lose. Good advice, tokenized or not.
Absolutely. This whole thing is changing so fast, what seems risky now might be normal in a few years. Got to stay curious, be skeptical, learn as you go.
Well said. One more thing from Dennis Frank that got me thinking. He says this isn't just about how we invest, but changing what ownership even means. Wild, right?
Powerful idea, right? Owning a piece of a company, some amazing art, even land, all just a few clicks away. Breaks down barriers, creates opportunities, totally changes how we think about assets. But like any revolution, there's going to be bumps. Biggest thing for your listener, stay informed, know the good and the bad, and get involved in shaping this future.
Love it. Big thing.